I'm rusty, man. Hold on, I'm rusty. It's been a while. It's been a while, man. It's been a while. What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? Welcome back to another one, another episode. I'm your host, Luz Takes in the building. Make sure y'all come in to like and subscribe and all the content and everything like that. My bad, y'all. It's been a while. I haven't went live by myself in a minute, but we're over here upgrading. We're trying to do our best to give us, just upgrade the content and give, quality content. But I got a reoccurring guest here, man. We I got Cowboys beat with me. Like, hey, tell the people how you doing, man.
Hey man, everything's great, man. I can't complain. I say this all the time, man. As long as my eyes open, everybody around me is straight. Every day's a great day, in my personal opinion.
You're right. Hey, it's a great day. We get to talk some football. We blessed. We get to talk about the Cowboys, even though the Cowboys have been messing up. But listen, I had to. I was gonna wait till I go live again, chat. I'm gonna be honest with y'all because I'm still upgrading some stuff. But there's some things in the air that I had to get off my chest, and I couldn't just let some things go by as we let people come in here. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Like they said, make sure to hit the like and subscribe from wherever you watching from. There's some things going around, chat. There are some things going around in Cowboy Nation. As you know, y'all saw me. I was part of the big, the minority movement of pushing for a certain player in a guard. You know what I'm saying? And the Cowboys just had their draft. Rookie minicamp just, it just wrapped up. But I didn't like the conversations post the draft about the player. And we had a conversation over the phone about it. And we're gonna talk about it. Why everyone should be very much excited for the first pick. We're going to talk about the first pick in particular. It's Tyler Booker, and we're going to talk about why he's going to vastly improve this offense and why he was a need on his team. And I brought in Cowboys beat Chris. I brought him in because he played quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And I should have
Not
put
on
on
a
the
high
title.
level though. Not I wasn't like a D1 guy or anything. I don't have that type of pedigree, but I got a little experience playing the position. Yeah, definitely.
And we must we got to use that experience today because yeah, you may not play it at a certain level, but you still understand the game to a certain level. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, for sure.
And there's some things that I think people are just not they're overlooking, they're not understanding from taking a Tyler Booker, because I know it's a guard, it's a lineman, it's not exciting and everything like that. But let's just dig deep. Let's get right into it. Guard was a need last year,
It
very
was.
much so. And people. I didn't like how everyone overlooked it because it's not a position of importance. They don't score touchdowns and everything like that. But can we talk about, because I said the phrase last year, and people think me being hyperbolic. I said your O line failed last season, as in your quarterback didn't make it through the season.
For
When you
sure.
hear that statement, what do you hear?
Yeah, I mean, look, the offense. I'm going to be honest with you though. I don't want to be too harsh on the offensive line because when you have two rookies starting on your offensive line, that's more of a roster construction front office type of problem than it is, I think, the personnel on the team. But I mean, you are saying a lot of the right things. I mean, Zach Martin got injured early in the season, but that's kind of the thing, right? Like when you start two rookies on your offensive line and then one of your veterans goes down, now you have three guys who are starting on your offensive line where you say these guys aren't experienced starters in the NFL. So, I mean, you're not wrong in what you're saying. I mean, if your quarterback goes down, and I mean, granted, if I'm not mistaken, that was a non-contact injury, but it was the offensive line when Dak was playing last year. It just wasn't good enough.
So I'm gonna get right into it. What I mean by that. So I know I think we're not. Let me see. People are still not understanding me when I say this. So when I say, and what I got here, everyone, is the clips of pressures, like specific pressures of Dak not being able to get into a step into his throws, Dak just getting hit, Dak just taking a sacks. Like it's not, it's more than everything like that. So when I say the offensive line was, I would say it single handedly was probably the main source of the blame for offensive struggles. Now and I know there's others to blame. Like, okay, the offensive line is bad. Let's blame Solari. Great. Offensive line bad. Let's blame McCarthy. Great. And I understand that you're right. We had half of the offensive line, right? The left tackle and the center, probably prime position number 1 and prime position number 2 being, taken over by rookies, and not only rookies being placed out of position. But when I say that they were single-handedly the reason why your QB did not finish the season, I mean these plays right here.
You go back to that play, that San Francisco one. Sorry to cut you off. I want to
let me
rewind to that real quick. Because it looked like, I think I remember that play specifically. Start that all the way from the beginning.
Let me see. Right here. Let me see.
Yeah, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like, okay. Keep it going here. Yeah, see right there. I want you to go back just a little bit. So, and stop. You see what he wanted. Now, granted, Bosa did beat him to the inside there. Mm-hmm. That is fair. But Dak wanted to step up into the pocket there and throw that ball. So when you see that throw and it's underthrown, what Dak saw was Turpin probably had the guy beat, and he was going to try and deliver that football down the field. But then when he was getting that pressure and when he was getting hit, that took power off the ball, and that's why that ball was intercepted there.
And that's why when I was evaluating offensive linemen, like in Twitter or like on previous videos, people was like, "Oh, well, we still got the playoff. Why we nitpicking, Lou?" Because I gotta nitpick stuff like this, because if we don't do our things, if we don't do our job, Dak can't deliver what he's supposed to deliver. And I know the main.
Back to that one more time. I just want to see that one more time.
Let me see. I wish I would have did the wide angle.
You want to know? I got NFL Pro. I can just pop that up here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, right there. There. Look at those feet right there. Mm-hmm. Look at those feet. Like,
he's trying to step into it.
That's a quarterback that's not comfortable in the pocket. Mm-hmm. And that's a big thing. Like, I tell people all the time about the quarterback position is that, people talk. I want people to get the ESPN, Fox Sports 1 type of view of the quarterback out of their mind. This idea that it's like, oh, well, if you got a quarterback, they should be able to make it work. Quarterback is the number one position in sports that is dependent on it's the most dependent position on what's going on around them. If your offensive line doesn't protect, guess what? You can't get the ball to your receivers. If your offensive line can't protect and your receivers don't separate, guess what? You are SOL. I don't care how good your quarterback is. If your quarterback can't be comfortable, get into a rhythm, things that quarterbacks need, it really doesn't matter at that point. Because, look, right there, that's inexcusable. You have your right guard is on his knees. This is just
your right tackle is losing. Your left tackle is on the ground.
This is hard. And see, you look at the left. Look at that. You have Guyton on his knees. You have Steele on his knees. You have your right tackle. You have your right tackle losing. Whose is that? I guess that's BB and Tyler Smith right there. The only ones that kept any type of pocket decency there.
Right.
So, that's an awful. That's really bad.
This is what I see when I was doing I did film sessions on every game when Dak was in there for the offensive line, and this is what I was seeing. And I think everyone else we're not seeing the exact same thing. This is when I say Dak was running for his life, this is what I meant right here.
Yeah.
Dak right now, he's in the middle of trying to escape, but he can't fully get his feet and his shoulders behind his throw, and now this throw is out of control. And y'all might say, "Oh, blame Dak." Maybe it was a decision here. I can't really see the wide angle, but who I'm blaming is these guys right here, because this is what I was talking about. It's all about the trust between quarterback and the offensive line. There's a meter. I wish it was. I wish I had a game screen. It's a meter of trust. And throughout the game, if your quarterback is constantly getting tagged, like constantly getting hit, constantly. If y'all seen the show, I forgot. I think it was Hard Knocks. If y'all remember Max Crosby and how he's a y'all know Max Crosby. That man's feared. Like you see him, you fear him. But he always talking about getting hits on the quarterback to let him know of his presence. And that, as an offensive lineman, we're trying to prevent, not the sack, this, because we're affecting everything. And I don't want to say the weapons, everyone who's won a new receiver is not like out of like, oh, they're wrong. We should upgrade. But I'm saying is this, I don't think we got enough opportunity because of stuff like this. And this was all throughout when Dak was healthy. I got clips and clips and clips. I can let this go on, of this. I got plenty of clips more, but I just wanted to show y'all like Dak is constantly getting tagged. Dak can't step up in the pocket.
Look at that. Look at that throw there. I mean, like
it was underthrown because he couldn't get into it. Look at that throw.
Right there.
Right there. See, we completed this ball right here, but this is what I was talking about. Why is it not? Grab it. Let me see. But Guyton is at his feet.
Yeah.
Boom. Like Dak, like Guyton is at his feet. Like if I was an offensive line coach, I don't care if we got the 30-yard gain. I want my quarterback to be comfortable back there because he feels this right here.
Yeah.
Because the very next play, I already know he's gonna do before he makes this. Routes. The time of routes is all about timing. Dak is he may take another second step next play, trying to sidestep, making sure because Guyton may be at his feet again, and now a half a second late, the safety can now make a play. Like these are the minute details we gotta sure up front before we do anything. Shout out to Sleazy. We got a super chat. He said, "First off, thank you. You're doing good. Second, I'm going to enjoy 3 aggressive center pieces in the middle of our line. Team O-line. Keep Deuce." Hey, shout out Sleazy. Yeah, hey, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into why the interior of the offensive line. Because that's another thing I got to debunk. I didn't like how people were talking about, oh, it's a guard. Why are we taking a guard? Positional value. We're going to get into that later. You got an older quarterback. But I'm going to continue to let this play. But I just wanted to see, this is what Dak had to deal with on a daily basis. And this is the trust factor that's constantly being, tampered with throughout the season. So when I say Dak got hurt I know he got hurt pulling his hamstring. I'm saying, why was he running? That's my thing.
Dude, with these clips, what you're showing me is, hey, we might be needing to look at another offense.
Don't say that too loud. Don't say that.
Look at that, dude. That's just a devastating hit right there.
That was the one I remember. That was the first game of the season. Dalvin Thomason. Boom, land. That's like, do you understand? Look at the cockback of Dak's helmet right here.
Yeah, he got planted there, man.
That's a 320-pound man coming full speed at him. Protect A-gap. That's why we were saying protect A-gap right now. You know what I'm saying? Look, this is what happened. I was getting on the BB all season. They kept attacking your rookies because they understand that they're getting used to the speed of the game. They kept sending these stunts. And
then BB started doing a better job picking those stunts up towards the end of the season.
Yes. And I commended him for that because they were attacking us with it, but just let's talk about it as a quarterback. When look at this. This is constant. Y'all, the tackles. Let me pause and say this. I don't think people understand how important the interior is because the tackles are responsible for the width of the pocket. That's how wide the pocket is. The guards are responsible for the depth. When you see quarterbacks do drills, You see them a lot of the times trying to evade the outside rush, like the what's on the edge. Stepping up. That's where you get the turn from. Every quarterback can step up. Pressure coming from your face, A gap,
Not
B
fun.
gap. That's not fun. Talk
Well,
about that.
well, so think about it like this, right? When you're getting pressure from the edge, you can like naturally as a quarterback, your throwing motion is to step up and deliver the ball. Like footwork, making sure that when you're delivering the football, it's you have a good base and you're delivering the ball like that. So when you're getting pressure on the interior and you have to escape the pocket, for like it's a lot harder to get a base when you're on the run throwing the football. Like I feel like a lot of fans will look at, you know, even a quarterback like Dak, Lamar Jackson, all these guys make plays out of the pocket on the run and they say, well, look, they can make throws on the run, but you're just seeing those plays in particular. You're not seeing the, I don't know, 50 times they had to make plays on the run and seeing their efficiency and success rate and completion percentage when they do that. So, you know, when you're getting pressure from the interior, yeah, you have to bail out and then you get in scramble drill and that condenses the field at that point. And that's just, when you're rolling out to the right or you have to roll out to the left, then you're only working with that side of the field to where if you're getting pressure from the edge and you get to step up in the pocket, you still have the entire field to work with. That's why, like, I always kept it quiet, but I was like, I'd rather have a strong interior than like I always kept that quiet because you want to be able to step up in the pocket and be able to get a good base when you're throwing the football. And so that's why to me it's very important having the depth of the pocket strong, so that way, if you're dealing with pressure on the outside, you could still operate your route concepts even if you're getting pressure.
See, and you hit it right on the head. What people, I think a lot of people don't know, the casual fan don't know, when you want to affect any type of quarterback, and Tom Brady he said this too. What affects the quarterback is interior pressure, because that's what they see. So we understand that the feet of the quarterback is important. He got to step into the throw, have his feet up under him. The arm is important, of course, but the main thing that's important to the quarterback that you want to affect is his eyes. And how do you affect his eyes when you're constantly sending pressure up the middle? The fastest route to the quarterback is the A gap. The second fastest route is the B gap. That is right now. That's what when you have an immediate threat, you want to respond to it. So when Chris says like you have to escape, that's something only very few quarterbacks have. Like not a lot of people can escape pressure like that. Especially, this is why I was pushing for it so hard. Not your quarterback at this certain point of his career. He's older. He's not as mobile. I know he lost the weight and he's slender, but the age, father time is still timeless. That's why interior pressure, shoring up that middle, does so much for your team.
Well, and I say this all the time, and I understand there are a lot of Cowboys fans out there that were team weapon, but I would also just say this, like, right guard was absolutely a need, because if a rookie can come in day one and be your starter, that position was a need. And no matter how great Dak is when he's going up against pressure, because he is one of the better quarterbacks in the league going up against pressure, a quarterback is most efficient when they have a clean pocket. That's why you see these adjusted completion percentage in a clean pocket. They're up there in the high 70s, low 80s. Completion percentage adjusted in a clean pocket, high 70s, low 80s, compared to when you have a completion percentage against pressure, you're usually in the low 60s, high 50s. I would say that, like, you see some of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league, and yeah, completion percentage is not an indication on accuracy, but those quarterbacks will deal in like the 69% completion percentage number. The reason why that number comes down is when they have to face pressure, your completion percentage is going to come down because it just naturally is, because, when you're in a clean pocket, you're able to deliver, you're able to be comfortable in the pocket and deliver the football, to where obviously when you're facing pressure, it's much harder to do that. So that's why I say, with the offensive line, that's why it's so crucial to me that they ended up shoring up that unit, because ultimately a quarterback is at his best when he's comfortable, when he's able to get into a rhythm. And the way you do that is to make sure that you're protecting your quarterback, and everything will fall into place, in my personal opinion.
You're right. And so when I was in the middle of these arguments, I was saying, like, what was the difference between the 2024 season, which is last season, and the 2023 season, which Dak was an MVP candidate in? I was, it was a weapons versus trenches argument, but I was saying, look, the weapons, the artillery we had really didn't change. What changed was the guys up front. And I just wanted to show everyone how much that very much so impacted the game. Yes, we both had both those seasons had slow starts, but it was at some point in the season, Schottenheimer and Dak went to go knock at Mike McCarthy's door and said, "Hey, let's open this up. Let's go more downfield with the routes." And you can't convince me that they didn't do it this year also, right? Because that would have been the obvious fix. But why couldn't they do it this year? Because look what's happening up front. You can't. That's why I was saying we can't handle one step drops with this pressure we're seeing right here.
Yeah, no.
So you wanted to go to 3 to 5? But I mean, yeah, go ahead.
And that's ultimately the thing, right? Like, when you have a quarterback like Dak that you're paying a lot of money to, you're not paying him to execute the 1 and 3 step drops. You're paying him to execute the 5 to 7 step drops. Those are your intermediate to deep concepts. And like, we've seen that Dak has been able to be very efficient in the intermediate to deep part of the field if you're able to give him protection. But the thing is, you're not even able to run those type of concepts if you can't hold up in protection for over 3 seconds. Mm-hmm. So that's where I look at this and I say, like, the people that were so against offensive line at 12, I'll never understand it. I will never understand that, especially because, this argument that, like, Clayton Adams, he's done some really good things with the talent that he's had, even though it wasn't that much talent. Like, he can just develop these guys. Well, like, okay, if you believe in this guy that much that you think he can just take a below average starter like Brock Hoffman and turn him into a good starter, what if you get like a really good prospect like Tyler Booker? How much better will your offensive line be if you get a really good player to work with a really good coordinator, really good position coach? I don't know. Like, they've talked about running the football all off season. That's what Brian Schottenheimer wants to do. Were people really that surprised with an offensive line pick? I don't know. Like, you hired, and now I do, but if Tet McMillan was on the board, they would have taken Tet, and that would have been the right pick. But when he went off the board, I mean, Tyler Booker was somebody to me that was in the conversation, and they ended up picking him, and looks like this guy could potentially be a very good pick for you, because I mean, I think this guy's going to come in day one, and I think he's better than what Zach Martin was last season. Last season, in the 2024 season, when he was beat up and he was a bit older, I think you upgraded at right guard here. And, this is a guy, how many years did he play at IMG?
He transferred, I think it was his sophomore or junior year. So either 2 or 3 years.
Okay, so he played 2 years at IMG, and then he started 3 years at Alabama. So for the last 5 years, he's been playing at the very pinnacle of the sport, like very pinnacle. You're not getting better high school football than IMG, and you're not getting better college football than the SEC. He's been playing at the pinnacle of his skill level for the last 5 years. You get this guy, and he's a tremendous leader from all accounts. This guy was the best player on their board. That's why when I hear people say, like, oh, it's a reach, I had him, 30th on my board, I had him this on my board. Well, respectfully, they don't care about your board. like you're not in these meetings. You're not seeing. Maybe Matthew Golden didn't have a great meeting. Maybe they didn't like the skill set that Emeka Egbuka was going to bring to the offense. Just maybe. I'm not saying they did, but maybe they said, hey, you want to know what? Emeka Egbuka, he's going to be a good player. We feel like that Tyler Booker has just as high of a floor, if not even a higher floor than Emeka Egbuka. We think he has a higher upside. So it's just these things that go on in draft meetings. Like Tyler Booker wasn't going to make it out of the top 15. Egbuka was there at 19. Matthew Golden was there at what, 25 or 23? 20?
Yeah,
exactly. So, to say that this was a reach, I don't know if the league necessarily agrees with that, because I think the league had a much higher grade than the media scouts did.
Look, you're right. So look, I just want Cowboy Nation to look. I just want you to see from my perspective, because I know you didn't see it from this angle, because you're just seeing, wide receivers are not getting open, Dak throwing interceptions, but just look at the clips I'm showing you. A lot of these teams are rushing 4. Yeah. There's 11 guys on the field at one time. If they're rushing 4, how many people are dropping in coverage? 7. And you wonder why they're able to bracket CD. Look how many bodies they can throw at CD. That's why I was saying there's more than one way to break that bracket. There is more than one way to break that bracket. Now, the other part of that, Schottenheimer needs to commit to the run game. But I just wanted to, this is another way to break it. I also wanted to show you that the right guard was a need. We needed to replace Zach Martin no matter what. I love Zach Martin to death, but he was holding his offensive line back. And I believe, and people was like, okay, y'all gonna be one O-line next year. No, sometimes all it takes is one guy. You got to remember who's constantly getting beat on this film is Zach Martin, the leader of the offensive line. Like, imagine if y'all working and your leader is not, up to par. That's gonna, take down the morale of the whole line.
Dude, even deeper. Hit him on that touchdown. I can't get over that. He would have hit him on that.
He would have hit him. He was in stride, but he can't get his legs behind the throw. This is what I was seeing. This is what I was saying. You hurt your quarterback. You are the reason your quarterback got hurt, because he didn't trust you, because he been getting his ass tagged. You've been at his feet, and you literally he couldn't function. So he felt like he needed to put on the cape, even though that's on the front office as well. But when Dak was on the sideline and he said, we effing suck, he wasn't talking about his receivers. Even though some people, look, the receivers do, he was talking about his O-line. He was trying to get hit on, he was trying to have the backside of his the 4 on his jersey, be dirty.
And here's the thing, right? Like, so when coaches and front office personnel, when they talk about taking responsibility off the quarterback's plate, they don't mean we don't trust our quarterback. What they mean is this: as a quarterback, you have a lot of responsibility, just mental, when you talk about pre-snap, diagnosing coverages, identifying the mic, making sure that blitzes aren't coming, those type of things. Post-snap, you have a lot on your plate to where, oh, wait, they disguised. Now I got to look, to this side of the field. It's just so many things going on for a quarterback. And, one of the things that they take off a quarterback's plate is, you improve your offensive line so that in the back of your head, you're not like, oh, if I don't get rid of this ball like now, I'm done. Like, nothing's going to happen here. So, when you have a good offensive line that can protect, like, you can go through your progressions naturally instead of everything speeding up. And it's like, oh, wait, I'm running this drive concept and it's shallow to deep. Oh, wait, shallow's not there. Oh, wait, I should have probably got the ball to the shallow. Like everything speeds up when you have an offensive line that isn't protecting at a high level. And that's why I say, like, if Guyton ends up not being a good player this upcoming season, guess what? You're going to have to draft an offensive lineman next year. Just because you missed on the pick doesn't mean you don't draft in the most important position outside of the quarterback position. Like, that's kind of my mindset here, to where I say, like, yeah, you got to keep throwing picks at the position until it's a great unit. It just is what it is. That's just football. Like, if you can't protect the quarterback, I don't care how good your running back is. I don't care how good your wide receiver is. You got to be able to protect that guy. You got to be able to keep him upright. So that's just the way I look at it.
It's the calls and, the effect. Like, in order for the receiver have to do his job, the quarterback got to do his job.
Exactly.
In order for the receiver and the quarterback to do their job, we have to do our job. Nothing like that's why it is a priority. When it comes to positions, it is. We have to go up the totem pole. Y'all do it. Fans do it all the time. That's why my whole motto of this show is the first blame, last congratulated. The moment the offense is bad, what do the fans do? Is the O-line blocking? Exactly. Like, O-line ain't blocking. We ain't gonna get nothing done. Exactly. We're the first blame and the last congratulated. I don't want y'all to congratulate. I'm just saying before we can solve the disease of getting CD the ball and breaking, the bracket, can we take a look at the guys up front? Is Dak seeing guys open? Shout out to Star. She probably watching, but she put out a whole. She probably forgot, but she put out a whole video of like routes running open during the first quarter of the season, and that's what I was saying with people. Look, I know our weapons are bad, but they are not getting locked up 8 times out of 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're running free. Dak can't see them. He literally can't see them. And why is that? His internal clock is turned up. His feet are out of whack. He's over here dodging the entire team, getting blasted in his ribs. Y'all seen the show Quarterback on Netflix? Y'all seen Kirk Cousins? His O-line was probably worse than ours. And you see how Kirk Cousins was hurting every game? He had to do like three and like aromatherapy, chromotherapy, needle therapy. He was doing all these types of things because he was taking such a beating game in and game out. And all of that was getting to his mental. That's everything like that. Shout out to Louise. He said Zach was better hurt than anything on a bench. This is not true. See, Zach was double hurt. I knew Zach was going to retire before everybody knew. I betted somebody too. He said everybody was like, "Oh, we got a new O-line coach. Oh, Zach gonna come back." I said Zach is retired, man. Because you got O-line. The beating you take doesn't stop. You're doing contact even on walkthroughs. Like, we gotta take into account practices and everything like that. His back was hurt and his leg, and this is going to tie into the Brock Hoffman conversation. This is why I was saying when people were trying to push Brock Hoffman in such a good guard he was, I was saying no, he wasn't. It was just the bar was set so low because of a hurt Zach. Look at Zach Martin, y'all. Martin couldn't move.
Brock Hoffman is not an NFL starter. He's not an NFL starter. I don't know where people get this from. He is not an NFL starter. He is a good backup. He is a guy that you want on your team. He sets the tone in the offensive line room. He's a nasty player, all that stuff. Even though I would say, like, hey, he was more nasty after the snap than he was during the snap, which, I mean, that's just, something that we don't really even need to get into. But, I mean, that's just a point. He's not an NFL starter. Like, here's the thing. There were probably a lot of fans that were upset at the Tyler Booker pick on the night of the draft. You want to know, they're not going to admit it, but you want to know what's going to feel great? When it's Saturday night and the Cowboys got the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday, and you're like, oh, Jalen Carter and that defensive line, we're all right. You play the Giants on a Monday night. You wake up that morning, oh, they got Dexter Lawrence and that defensive line, we'll be all right. Washington, Daron Payne, we'll be all right. It might not seem great at the moment for the people that didn't want this pick, but I'm telling you, you're going to sleep like a baby going up against some of the most fearsome and vicious defensive interiors because of the fact that you have the type of interior offensive line that you have.
And shout out to Kelvin. He said, "I'm sorry. This is just telling me Dak and CD on their own again." I feel you, Kelvin. I understand that you want more guys, but this is what also can help them. And don't stop, getting on front office ass and bringing in somebody. We need another running back. We need a wide receiver too. We need tight ends. We need it all. Don't stop. Keep your foot on Steven's neck, because we do need more talent. I'm not saying it, but what can also help you if none of this does come. I'm not saying we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm not even saying we're going to go to the NFC Championship game. We don't have the talent. I understand that. Because that's just I'm not to blame for the philosophy of this team and how cheap Stephen Jones is. I'm not. But what I'm saying is this: what could really help you into being a competitive team and being a team that's respectable is if you do what my mama just said. You run the damn ball. You help everyone on that team out when you run the ball. When you be smart about, I'm not saying I want us to shift the pendulum. When I say I don't want to be a passing team, I want us to not go in with a mindset of just passing first. Let's run on first down. Let's get some 4 yards. Let's make it second and medium and then third and short. Let's be methodical about this.
Exactly.
If we're relying on Dak and CD to save us, don't look at wide receiver 2. Look at the damn the scheme behind it. Why are we leading with this in the first place? This is not sustainable. There are teams in the league with more weapons than you, Kelvin, and they still don't go anywhere.
Yeah. No, for sure. And that's the thing, right? I want to see a trend that I see in modern football with some of these play callers is that they're very aggressive on first and second down, because they want to get into third and less than 4. Because at that point, now you still have the threat of running the football because of the down and distance. When you're in 3rd and 9, teams just bring out their NASCAR packages and they're going to rush the passer. They're going to pin their ears back and rush the passer. But if you're in those 3rd and shorts, now they can't just pin their ear back and rush the passer, because you could be multifaceted when you're in those type of situations, to where, that was kind of the thing with the Cowboys over the past few years, which is why I always say this: Dak doesn't get the credit he deserves, because Dak was having to play out of 3rd and longs a lot during that MVP season that he had, because he was the MVP that year. I'm not, just like Lamar Jackson was the MVP this year, Dak was the MVP in 2023. During that season, what you saw was that they were playing a lot in 3rd and longs because their run game wasn't that effective. And even this year, it was bad, some of the situations that they put Dak in. Yeah. So let's make sure that first and second down that we're able to be productive and have a plan about it, right? Because Mike McCarthy, it wasn't his plan to get Dak in 3rd and longs. He just didn't have a good enough plan to not have that be the case. So, that's going to be a key. And the question I would have to the front office is like, do you guys see yourself competing for a Super Bowl this year? Which, if they said no, I would understand that, because they do have a first-year head coach. That is something that's happening. It's very rare to see. I don't think a first year, maybe John Gruden was he the only coach that came in first year and won a Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, won a Super Bowl. Okay, if you were saying getting there, I mean, yeah, we really am. I think you're talking about we should lower the pendulum, get into the NFC Championship game. I know, but winning the Super Bowl, that is very hard, because in order to win a Super Bowl, there's a lot of things that need to be there's hidden things that need to be established in order to win a Super Bowl, like chemistry, cohesion, and most importantly, culture. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's pretty impossible unless you have an overwhelming amount of talent, which I understand why. That's why people want to do that. They want to get an overwhelming amount of talent, but there's some things that we just got to correct on this team in order to do that. So shout out to Henny. He's like, you don't even like the running backs. If Javonte Williams can stay healthy, and this is a big if, He would be a great, no, good, slightly good running back one. And this is why I was so big on fixing the O line rather than getting a running back. The O line increases the floor of your run game. The running back knocks the roof off your running game. So I know when we get a good running back, that's gonna, take us to new heights. But and Boss brought this up. Like, we still remember when we had knock need, and our emphasis on knock need Darren McFadden. Darren McFadden, who was not as, he had pedigree, but y'all remember, he only had one cut in him, one good cut in him, and he was done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if we can get 1,000, and was it 98 or 1,008 yards from him, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I know you don't have the running backs to take you over, but I am trying to get him past the line of scrimmage. If we got some excavators, I'm calling them the 3 excavators in the middle, but Booker, BB, and Tyler Smith, I'm calling them 3 excavators. If they are moving ish in the middle and creating a lane for at least 4 yards, that's the pendulum for at least a starting back in this league. That's all I'm looking for as a win running the ball. 4 yards a carry. You know that. We're looking for that. 3 to 4. I am trying to make it easier on the passing game. I don't want to be passing from 3rd and 10. I think, yes, a running back can help you, but your commitment, that's what I was telling people, your commitment, your hard-headedness to the run game is what make great running teams. Like, remember, and Henny, you can attest to this. Remember when we played the Rams and we were up 21-9, right? And they stayed hard-headed to the run game because they knew we were soft in the middle, even down 2 to 3 touchdowns, and they ran the ball to get back in the game.
Yeah. No,
that's what a run game can do to you. It's the stubbornness to it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And here's the thing, right? Like, so I do want to talk about, I want to keep talking about the offensive line here. Like, if the football gods were to come to me right now and they said, you're not winning the Super Bowl this year, but coming out of this season, Tyler Guyton proves to be a good starting left tackle, Mozzie Smith proves to be a good starting defensive tackle, I would be ecstatic just by those 2 things.
2 things.
Just by those 2 things.
We can get kicked out in the first round. I'm gonna be honest with y'all because we're not gonna win this year. Spoiler alert. I'm letting y'all right now. No, I'm looking at the small battles with this team. For one, I'm looking to see if Shotty's with his word. You know what I'm saying? He's saying his accountability. He's trying to change. I'm looking to see if there's culture changes within his team. The things I got annoyed with McCarthy about. That's what I'm looking for. McCarthy was a lax coach, a delegating coach, a coach that allowed softness to creep within the team. He had some great things about him, but he had some things that I think Shotty was sitting around and watching that he was doing wrong. So I wanted to see if he's actually going to act on those things. Then let's build onto it. Yeah.
And see, like, ultimately the thing is, you have Dak under contract for 4 more seasons. You have this one, and then you have 3 more years after this. I think what they're doing is, okay, this is year 1 of the shoddy administration. What we're going to do is we're going to look for positive things like what direction is the culture moving in? Do we have young players that are going to be able to step up and play a big time role? Who are our leaders going to be going forward? I think this is not, it's not happening. We're not winning a Super Bowl next year. Like, but the more realistic goal for the Cowboys to me is NFC Championship game. I mean that to me is I do think that this team is actually going to be a lot better than people think they are. Like, I think they're going to be a 10 win team, like 10 plus win team. Because I just look at this team and I say, I think they did a better job building out the depth of this team. And, if the injury gods are in your favor this year, I think your offensive line's going to play pretty damn well. I think you're going to have a really good pass rush. There's certain things that I look at with this team and I say, they're going to do that particular thing at a high level, or this unit is a really damn good unit. And honestly, that's why I think Cowboys fans, the realistic like dream for us is NFC Championship this year. And I mean, if that happens, I truly believe if they make the NFC Championship game this year, it may sound like hopium, but I do think that hold up. I'm not Kelvin. I'm not me personally. I'm not the front office. I would have been more aggressive in free agency this year. But I'm just telling you what they're telling us pretty much. You know, I don't like it either. I would prefer if they went out and I wanted them to move on from Mike McCarthy last year because you're just delaying this whole thing another year. You know, but that's besides the point here where you just want to make sure that this team is heading in the right direction. And, you know, I think year one, if Schottenheimer really proves that he has the right culture, the team's heading in the right direction, I do think they will be a little more aggressive with the moves that they make in the offseason. I know that sounds like hopium, but if you give them an NFC Championship berth, I think Schottenheimer's the type of guy that, you know, he understands that you can't just be a draft and develop program. I don't believe he thinks that. And if you're able to do something that this franchise hasn't done in 30 years, be the coach to lead them to the NFC Championship, you're going to have a lot of say-so in that organization. It just is what it is.
So, yeah, shout out to Kelvin. He said, "Are we waiting till?" I'm not telling you to wait till 2028. I am saying you got to be patient with this. Even if the only way if we was going to actually go for it now is if they change, not like I keep telling people it's not the asset management, it's the and asset mismanagement. It's the number of assets that we're working with. The only way we would have a chance of even competing, Kelvin, if they can like at least participated in free agency in any position. We told them go get me a guard, but I kept telling y'all them guards they brought in were nothing. They were literally nothing. They brought a guy in who was hurt all year, another guy who quit football and said, "Hey, you know, my rent is due. Let me come and play for a little bit so I can pay the rent." That's who you got to replace them at guard. That was not enough. We needed some more. What we needed, they needed to make not one move. We're begging for one move, but they needed multiple moves for you to be even considered on the same level as the Eagles. Be honest with you, it's not even home run ability. Like we're asking for it right now. We're not even as far away from the Eagles as we're saying. I'm saying we're gonna have to wait because I don't trust them to make only. I'm begging them to make one move. Like if we was to get a running back right now, we was to get Nick Chubb, bring in somebody like Keenan Allen or trade for like Bateman for wide receiver 2, and maybe you can. We don't really need Gilmore, but if you bring in Gilmore, sure, and then a defensive tackle, a vet defensive tackle, you're ready to compete. You're ready to compete. But do you hear all these moves that Stephen Jones wouldn't dream of doing? Do you hear all the above and beyond things we have to do in order to do that? I understand, like y'all. I'm telling y'all right now, by ourselves without a guard, we're still in the same situation we're in right now. Probably worse, because it wouldn't make sense. I'm gonna be honest with you from a philosophical standpoint. You're getting a receiver. We're going, which means the Jones is gonna probably force us to be a pass heavy team, and you have like 4-6 sets of hands that are run dependent. Connor Riley is a run. He's an offensive line coach that specializes in run game. Clayton Adams is the OC who specializes in a run game. And Schottenheimer, y'all remember Marty Ball, like his dad, Marty Schottenheimer? That's 3 different people who specialize in run game, and you're telling them to throw the ball. What success do you think is going to come from that?
You're right. You're ready for this? Let me add a 4th name to that. Steve Shimko wasn't he the assistant run game coordinator last year?
Yeah.
When he was at Boston College, they had one of the most efficient running attacks in college football. So, yeah,
but what is the plan for throwing the ball? We're gonna, if y'all honestly, let me be honest with y'all, that would have been Schottenheimer and Seattle 2.0. Because remember, they were trying to get him to throw the ball. That was a Let Shotty Cook campaign, and we would not be here. Tate Ratledge is not the caliber of guard as a Booker. I don't know if he beats out Hoffman. I'm gonna be honest with you, Henny. I don't know if he beats out Hoffman because he was just a raw player, and I don't trust Hoffman. And we're gonna be passing the ball. Well, I'm saying what about the passing schemes? Like if we was gonna pass the ball, we may always bring in Kellen Moore. We might always bring back McCarthy if we was gonna pass the ball like that. That's what I'm saying. We're trying to move dynamically different because that's what can help us. Now I still want a weapon that can complement this scheme. Like a J-Mo would be perfect. Jameson Williams from Detroit.
Oh yeah.
Play action, take the top off. Oh man, I dare them. They better keep two on the roof and keep one deep. Like they better not try to bracket CD. You know what I'm saying? And the box will be empty like this. Like look at this box right here. They're daring you to run the ball, but you couldn't last year. That was what's wrong with this team. It's not that CD and Dak didn't have enough. Look how many people they're dropping back, y'all. They're rushing with 4. This is the most disrespectful thing that you could ever do, Team Weapons. I'm sorry. You this is they're running a 4-2-5 in the league. That is a college coverage.
Yeah. I mean, no, I mean, you're saying a lot of the right things there. I just think ultimately, I know it's hard to tell fans that this year is kind of, a soft rebuild type of year, but I think next year you'll start to see they'll draft a receiver, they'll draft a running back, because I do think that they have like Jadon Blue. To me, I don't know if Jadon Blue is a lead type of back. I actually personally don't think that that's the case. But hey, if this guy comes in and he proves that he could be a really nice number 2 back, guy that can catch passes out of the backfield, guy that can make explosive plays down the field, then next year at this time, we're probably talking about drafting a running back who can be your main lead back. And you have a complementary backfield to go along with an offensive line that you have with Beebe, Booker, Smith, hopefully Guyton, hopefully Steele steps up and plays a little more. I start to feel a little better about this running back room if that's the case come next season.
You're right. I understand your plight, Kelvin. You say I'm tired of my question to you, Kelvin. I understand it. We need more bodies. My thing is this, Kelvin. How did he make it work in 2023? How we were able to move the offense because this is the same no bodies, it's the same weapons core. How we were able to move then? That's my thing. I'm saying there is a way. Now I understand. Like I don't want to. You're right. We need both. We do need both. But in order to get both, we weren't going to get. We could have got both in the draft, but we needed more from the free agency. We needed more from the front office. We still needed to do that. Honestly, we still need to do that. Now, going about with Blue, I'm finna drop a film session on him. I don't see him as a back, y'all. I really don't. He's not a back, period. Actually, y'all want a weapon? That's a weapon right there. He said it in his interview. I'm giving a brief. He said in this interview how when he was in high school, he had an advantage in 7-on-7 because he was much faster than the guys right there because he's a converted receiver that's playing running back. That's a hint right there. Like that's what he is. Like he's a receiver playing running back. I think he replaces if Shotty is smart, he replaces what Turpin was doing last year. You see less of Turpin. That's what you. I don't see him as a back.
Well, actually, yeah, I'm pretty high on Turpin. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm pretty high on him too, but they're the same person except Turpin is a receiver and Turpin is classified as a receiver and Blue is classified as a back. As far as being a back, I don't want to see him doing anything inside the tackles because his cuts are not smooth. He's not a smooth runner. He has speed and everything needs to be on the runway. So it has to be blocked up perfectly for him to run. That's my only thing with him. So we still need a running back. I think we should still go out and get a running back and we should do it. We were right. He said, cause and this is what I'm trying to prevent, like this is my thing with y'all. Like, look, this is why I want this because if you look at the top quarterbacks in the league, yeah, they got weapons, but when the times they get nitty and gritty, you never see them out there gunslinging it. None of those quarterbacks. I would name Patrick Mahomes. The moment they are in trouble, what do? They run the ball. We just saw Josh Allen versus a Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game when they were down and they were in their own 10-yard line. They ran the ball all the way for 90 yards on that drive. They didn't pass the ball not once. Do you see how that's a stabilizer to a good quarterback? When everything is going shaky, you needed a run game for Green Bay. When things are going shaky and you needed to slow down both sides, calm down your defense and your offense, you needed a run game then. A run game would have kept your defense would win, and it would have slowed down and told Dak, "Hey, Dak, let's calm down. let's
Hey,
let's stabilize it a little bit."
real quick. Slick Rick just posted something on X that said "Big Steelers move coming," and it's a GIF of George leaving from I guess Seinfeld or something. So
No,
maybe
is it
that's
biggest to
why.
us?
Maybe.
If we
Yeah.
get pickers, y'all better hush. I don't want to hear nothing from y'all no more.
Eh,
Y'all better.
yeah,
I swear to y'all, if we get
yeah, I mean, look, Pickens is. I mean, he's something else, man. He I don't know if that's the type of guy you want in your locker room, but man, that's the type of guy you want on the football field. And you kind of just wonder, with this culture that Schottenheimer is building, that hey, maybe you get a guy or two that you have a little bit of question marks about.
I view Schottenheimer. He's showing that he's a culture guy, but I view him as a Tyrion Lannister. Y'all watch Game of Thrones, you know what I'm saying? One of my favorite characters ever. But what I liked about Tyrion Lannister is how he can play the game however it need be. If it needed violence, he used violence. If it need, like just just politics, he'll politics. So if we get a George Pickens in here, I want him to find a way to make it work. Maybe I know even from on paper it looks like the great coach in the Steelers. I'm blanking on his name. Who's the coach of
Mike
the Steelers?
Tomlin,
If the great Mike Tomlin couldn't control him, how can a new coach Schottenheimer control him? Find a way. Find a way, because if you can make this work, Pickens and CD, and I know we jump into conclusions. Hey, I like that. I really do, especially as a blocker. He gonna be a great receiver. But hey, shout out to Chad. He said, "Lou, at this pick, do we have a top 5 O line?" No, and shout out to Generation of Cowboys. Earlier is from the Dallas area, because they asked me earlier, your success, and I'll say this right now on camera, for you to be considered a top 10 O line, Guyton needs to be good. If Guyton is great, you are a top 5 O line.
dude. If I personally think if Guyton's good, you have a top 5 offensive line.
And I'm not mad at that. Guyton has to be good. That is the only Guyton. I'm not even really. I'm excited for Mozzie. I think he's, because the end of the season showed me a little something. But Guyton and Mozzie are your two pendulums that can really. They can swing a lot.
They can really swing this thing.
They can really swing a lot this year.
Look, I believe in Guyton, but he's got to step up this year. I mean, he has to understand. Like it's a bit unfair that we're putting this much pressure on Tyler Guyton, but you want to know what? He's a first round pick. He should be able to handle those expectations. I talked about, I feel fine with Booker. I think day one that kid's going to come in and be a plug and play starter, one of the best right guards in football, in my personal opinion. That's how I see him. Like I said, he has played at the pinnacle of his sport for the past 5 seasons. I don't see why he can't come into the NFL and be that type of guy for you. I feel good about Booker. I feel good about Beebe. I feel good about Smith. Steele, it is what it is. We'll see what happens there. Guyton is a guy that they spent a first-round pick on. Guyton is a guy who, if he doesn't succeed, that is a Guyton thing. That is not a coach thing. That is not an organizational thing. Guyton has all the tools to be a top-flight left tackle in this league. When you talk about his arm length, his height, his ability to move with his feet, he has all of the traits. If Tyler Guyton doesn't become a good football player, that is on Tyler Guyton. Because look, I get it. Mike Solari wasn't great, but at the end of the day, you got trainers that you go to outside of this place. You got to make sure that you're being mature, you're doing what's expected of you, you're being a real leader in that. And you don't have to be a leader, but you have to be the type of guy that's going to step up, work hard, because if he becomes a good player, this is a top 5 offensive line in football. If he doesn't become, if he's below average, I know Henny the Moore's in here and he's not going to like what I'm about to say. You're talking about drafting an offensive tackle next season if Guyton doesn't progress. I mean, I'm not joking either. Like, that's what's going to, I mean, you cannot, there's absolutely no way, if you find out at the end of this season that you missed on that Guyton pick, there's no way in hell you can't address that. There's no way that you can't address that. I mean, you have to address that position if you realize you don't have a good left tackle. I know it's not fun to think about, but that's why I say Guyton is so damn integral to what this team is going to do.
He is.
Because left tackle it's the most important position outside of the quarterback position, my personal opinion. So if this guy doesn't pan out and becomes at least an above average starter by the end of the season, that's going to spell a lot of problems for this football team. It really is.
And I need him to work because because I already know people are like, oh, they're trying to break glass and let's just kick Tyler Smith out,
No.
Yeah, because I don't want you to mess with my offensive line. Do not mess with my interior. We have a chance to be one of the strongest interiors of offensive line in history. I'm telling you, when I say the center position is not a strong position, they just good with movement and everything like that and good with leverage. I'm telling you, BB is probably one of the strongest centers you'll ever see. Tyler Smith is going to throw you like OC card. He got back breaking strength. Like, he will literally flatten your spine, just a punch. And Booker, you check out the video if you haven't seen it. But we've been telling you, he's been, not only has he been competing at the highest level, he's been dominating the highest level. Like, flattening, like, I'm talking about, like, taking the will and soul out of SEC off defensive line, y'all. Like, period. Like, he's making...
It's not just him using his, power to overcompensate for things. There is legitimate nuance in the way he plays a position when it comes to, picking up those stunts and, picking up blitzes. And, I think he was making a lot of the calls on that offensive line for Alabama going back to his sophomore year. I mean, this is a guy that Nick Saban said as a sophomore was a leader of that football team. He was the leader of that team. That's what Nick Saban said about the guy. So that's what I'm saying. Like, people who think that they were going to trade back and still get Booker, he wasn't going to be there.
Like, that's what I was telling people. Like,
dude, when
I don't want to bring this up, but somebody was saying like how he was one of like the bus. Somebody put out a list of like all the bus office. I'm like, y'all, Nick Saban don't talk about his former players like that. He don't talk about anybody like. He's all stoic. Booker is one of the people he actually missed coaching.
Yeah, I mean, he as a 20-year-old, he looked at Tyler Booker and he said, "You're the leader of this football team." I mean, when you have that stamp of approval on top of that tape, he was always going to be a top 15 pick. It was the same thing that I said about Kelvin Banks before the draft. It's like, oh, well, maybe Kelvin Banks will be there in the 20s. Maybe we can trade back for him. He was never leaving the top 10. Kelvin Banks was never leaving the top 10. Just like Tyler Booker was never leaving the top 15. The league was higher on Booker than a lot of these fans were.
Yeah, I know. They said Ashton Richards does not want to play. Yeah, I mean, because Richards is not good at tackle. He's strong, but his feet are slow. That's the main thing.
Shout out to Awesome Richards. So Awesome Richards went to high school at this school called the Haverford School. That's about like 35, 40 minutes from where I live. And we played them in basketball before. So I'm rooting for that kid. He played in a league called the Interac, which is, it's not the Philadelphia Catholic League, which like the Philadelphia Catholic League had guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyle McCord, Guys, Abdul Carter played in that league as well. He didn't play in that league. He played in the Interact, so that's like the private schools, not the Catholic schools. So I'm rooting for Awesome Richards. I just don't know if that's a realistic possibility here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Shout out to Aston Richards, that you played Aston or no?
Nah. He was yeah.
I
No,
was gonna say,
way above or way younger than me.
Yeah, but Camel, yeah, shout out. I mean, Clayton Adams, Connor Wright are supposed to be gurus. They better figure it out. I understand that. I mean, the thing is, like, what I kept telling y'all with linemen how it works. You have to give them quality to work with. You can't just give them anything. Stoutland is the best development, when it comes to linemen over there with the Eagles. But you can't give him shit. You know what I'm saying? You have to give him quality to begin with. How I know that? When and my mama here, she'll testify. I used to get visits because when TCU was recruiting me, and I used to go to the games all the time. We go to the locker rooms. One of the dudes gave me his gloves. You know who they ended up being? His last name was Vatai. He had a long last name. I think he was a island kid, and he ended up getting drafted for the Eagles. He was one of their high round picks. I think he went second round.
Okay.
But he ended up being a bust. Stoutland was there. You know what I'm saying? So and that's why I was saying, like, just because he was a high quality pick, and shout out to him, man, because he played at TCU and everything like that, and I still got them gloves. Just because they spent high resource on a guy, sometimes the guy may not be the quality that you get, and no one can really fix him. And that always tie it back to how football works in college is how the NFL works. Whenever you want to get better as a program, what is the first position group that you upgrade? The trenches, defensive line and offensive line, because that is the main separator between Power 5 schools and Division 1 AA.
Yeah. Yo, but Lou, I do got to get out of here. I got to get.
We finna go. We finna close out. Yeah, but say shout out to everyone that's in the chat. We had 137 people in here. It was great talking with y'all. Man, it was a great football talk, man. But listen, y'all, just be excited for the pick. Dak is gonna be upright. Well, he should be upright because we sure up the middle. We're actually taking care. We're getting a weapon. We still need to get more people in here. But yeah, any last thoughts?
Nah. I just overall very, very positive. Look, I'm positive about the direction of this team over the course of the next few years. This season, and I mean, playoffs. I think fans should be very excited if we make the playoffs, even if it's one of those things where we have a great regular season and maybe we don't get to where we need to be in the playoffs. Like, understand this is the first year of a new administration. It's hard to preach patience, but that's just what you have to have when you have a brand new head coach. And, it's not fun. I get it, but it is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's gonna be a ride, Cowboy Nation. But this is the price you pay when you switch coaches and you have a young football team. But hey, we appreciate everyone. Make sure to like and subscribe to Cowboys Beat. For his content, he's on YouTube, he's on TikTok, everywhere. We appreciate everyone for having this conversation with y'all. But until next time.